フルカウンター
Netmarble doesn't like 7 days in, or at least it feels like they don't, especially in the past few months basically. But right now, I went into Twitter, or a few hours ago, and I woke up actually. I woke up at 7 p.m. Ask. And one of Nagato's posts and one of his tweets they did put out was that the labyrinth has now been changed. Apparently it's actually a lot harder now, so that's not a good thing because the last labyrinth was actually pretty good now. But also he does say that Grand Cross is the worst it's ever been, and I kind of want to talk about that. And that kind of goes back to my point that I was talking about yesterday in the State of Show podcast. You can watch it. The full episode is out on Amazing's channel, and that is, it feels like recently that Netmarble just doesn't like 70 Sins characters, especially when you look at the past few characters we've gotten this year. They've all been one seasonals and rare characters, but also bad, and we'll talk about it once we get into the more PP games. Alright, so is Grand Cross is at its worst state it's ever been? Hard to say, to be fair, because I really do feel like, oh, okay, I kind of want to find this team when I'm using like Blue Gopher, but you know, no one, oh, never mind, it's not even the green one. But but it's hard to say that Grand Cross is in the worst state it's ever been. When you think about, you know, Pyogly bar meta, it really can't get worse than that, to be honest with you lot. But why is it in a bad state? I mean, there's more problems, but let's more or less talk about PvP and more or less the enjoyment of the game. And that kind of comes down to one thing: the characters. Obviously, this is a gacha game, and right now as well, people don't realize it, but the gap between this festival and the next one is the biggest it's ever been. You normally get a festival every 2 months, where now, because of the gap between Global and the JP anniversary, it actually is 3 months. So we are going to get, you know, a big celebration, which is the collaboration, which is meant to kind of relieve some of that tension to bring back hype towards the game. Can we kill one? I think we can. I should have put my best also. Okay, we can't kill. But the new collaboration, a lot of people don't really care about it, and we'll get to that in a second, but that is like the biggest thing we're going to get for the next few months, basically, because after the collaboration, we're then going to get a festival at the end of May. But the last time we got a festival was Mayel. That came out nearly 2 months ago now, so you can see the big gap between this festival and the last one. Okay, I think we might be dead here. Nah, Lollimer's pass is too good, so we don't die. Echidna might die because we don't have the grace on, like, the buff, yeah. But yeah, like I said, the big thing is the characters, and that's the problem. We're playing 70 Sins Grand Cross, and it really doesn't feel like we're playing 70 Sins Grand Cross. It feels like we're playing Grand Cross now at this point, because if you look at the characters we've gotten this year, all of the Sins have been shocking. Like, let's just talk about the that came out yesterday, or today actually. She is by far one of the worst things we've gotten in a very, very long time. I mean, look at her kit. Like, depletion, I mean, Pierce card as well. And also, as well, with this, the passive being a PvE character. But, like, and you can't even use it in the multi peak battles. It just doesn't make sense. Did I just die? No, I didn't. Okay, well, fine. But it's so good. I forgot how good she was. And that's one thing. You miss using these old characters. And when they do decide to return these old characters you haven't gotten, like Good Elizabeth, like Full Wing King, we get terrible treatment. Alright, so I do want to say that festivals are, you know, do get a lot of treatment. Of course they do. They get a lot of love. They're given, right? They're Netmarble's literal moneymaker. But does that mean our individual banners have to be so bad and so boring? No. And we kind of go back to this year, right? What we've gotten. So bear in mind, at the start of the year, Netmarble said they're going back to their pre-launch mindset. And I thought that meant they're going to be going back towards, like, you know, put more effort into the game. And maybe they are. Maybe it takes time to, you know, start doing all these characters. And maybe they're gearing up to Fortnite's Apocalypse. That's going to be coming probably later this year, which will be almost a massive expansion towards Grand Cross. We get to new characters, new content, new stuff in the game we haven't seen before, and with these Origins too, there's a lot of stuff they can do to kind of tie everything together and to make Grand Cross better rather than it being the shadow of Origins. But them saying that and what we've seen so far kind of feels like the recent characters that were meant to release almost like 2 years ago, basically. Because, like, look at Mono. Mono was like, she could have been good, but he kind of nerfed her, like, not really nerfed it, but like they kind of scuffed her second buff skill. Like, if this didn't remove buffs, but actually, you know, buffed up herself and her team, then this actually could have been quite good, but they absolutely scuffed it. But also, one thing I want to point out is that this was an OC character. Now, granted, OCs are a big part of the game, and so is obviously Ragnarok, but now that you have Ragnarok and OC characters with the new OC storyline as well, we're getting a lot of non-70 Sins content, and it's starting to be a burden in a way. Obviously, you don't know I love 70 Sins, and someone asked me on your comments the other day, or last week actually, saying, you're a massive Seven Sins fan, but why do you never summon for Seven Sins characters? You always say for collaborations. And that is because of the treatment that the actual Sins characters get in this game. Excluding festivals. We're not talking about them because those are the big characters, right? But let's look at the thing. Obviously, Freya was obviously a big one of the characters. She always actually got a lot of treatment. She actually got a really unique ultimate with the Wave and also Abyss. You know, a little bit of a change towards the Abyss you've seen in the game already. She was a good addition, but it was an actual Ragnarok character. And, I mean, I'm not going to talk about her because she's obviously nice, but, like, you know, if they did that for, let's say, someone like, you know, Skinny Escanor, would have been kind of cool, right, to see more Seven Sins characters in 7 Sins Grand Cross. I know it sounds weird to say, right, but, like, let's look at towards King, right? King was just bad. He's good, dude, don't get me wrong, but the problem is he's a king. Their choice for a new fairy was just really bad, and that's one thing too. When we do get 7 Sins characters nowadays, the one either a bad pick or just bad. King was actually pretty good, to be fair, but the problem is he has to actually have other fairies on his team, but there's no other fairies in the game. I mean, what, you have a Dotwing King, but you can't use 2 kings together. Elaine's bad, but, like, you know, fair enough. If we had, you know, if this was Gloxinia, this would have been sick. I would have summoned probably because, you know, Gloxinia in actual, like, Valentine's outfit, yeah, yes please. Hell, if it would have been another Hellbrim, it would have been fine, as long as you could use a Dotwing King together. So there would have been an actual full, competent fairy team. And that's one thing with PP right now. People just say it's just goddesses and obviously demons. That's because they're the ones getting the love in a way. I say in a way because not really for goddesses. We'll get through that in a second. But unknowns are dead. A little bit of a niche thing because those are mostly, you know, collab characters. So people don't really tend to use them. But unknowns are in a pretty good spot. But we want to see also humans. We want to see also catastrophe teams. We want to see Ragnarok teams. And also want to see fairy teams in the game actually be competent. And they're yet to do that. Like I said, the fairies would have been somewhat competent if they got a new Gloxinia. That was literally the exact same kit as obviously New King. Then we got Mael. Mael was fine. Probably too fine. I think he probably shouldn't have got the stat lower because that kind of negates a lot of stuff and kind of killed the Ragnarok team, to be fair. So that just didn't work out. Then we got Green Leduciel. Their choice right here was stupid because, like, we needed more. Well, I don't say we needed, but goddesses wanted more support. The main staple with Mael was always Margaret. No matter what goddess team you use, you always use obviously Margaret, who is Leduciel. So their choice right there was terrible. That could have been a new Nerabasta. Could have been a new Sario or Tamio even, because those aren't really used too often. Like, that would have been so much of a better pick. There's still quite a few goddesses we could see in the game, like the one from obviously the Cursed by Light. Like, not only would it have been better for the actual goddess team, but also really nice to see a new character. And then we got Miguelda, and then we got obviously Roxy. And to be fair, Miguelda's terrible. Once again, the choice right there was so stupid. You can't even use Miguelda with Miguelda in the bird. You can't even use her relic either. Just makes no absolute sense there. Their pick right there was terrible again. Also, for what she does, not even that great. For, like, you already have our set teams for the multi battles. Then we got Roxy as well. To be fair, I will say, Roxy, very good. I like what he's done here. Once again, we want to go back towards getting more value in our 600 diamond banners. So there's a reason to summon. You feel good about summoning in a way, right? Because the banner itself was actually somewhat nice for getting obviously these characters down here. Getting the OCs that you haven't gotten before as well. And she comes with a bond too, which is nice. It can be a bit paid to win, but it is nice to see these 600 diamond banners have good treatment. My only problem is that it's Roxy. If this was, let's say, Skinny Escanor, if this was Gelda, if this was who's in story mode right now, you know, Demon Gopher, imagine you buffed up demons, that'd be kind of insane, right? But, like, my point is, we're not getting that many Sin characters, and when we do, we get Elizabeth. Once again, absolute, I don't know what, generally speaking, if this character came out 2 years ago when the game first launched, she might have been good. And bear in mind, this is not even a step up either. This is, like, terrible. She is a 600 diamond banner. Banner's really bad too. The character must be one of the worst characters we've gotten in years. And it's just, once again, another wasted week. Another wasted banner. We have to wait 2 weeks to get a banner to now be useless for the next 2 weeks. Now, granted, we are getting a collaboration in 2 weeks' time. And that's going to bring a lot of hype towards the game. Going to bring new characters. It's fun. But it also does mean we're not going to get another 7 Sins character. So, once again, go back to my point of not getting that many 7 Sins characters. And we do the either festivals or seasonals that didn't have to be seasonals. Ludo was seasonal, but he did change their mind because I guess no one cared for him. But the fact they made this character specifically an actual, you know, Elizabeth was kind of an L because her reg doesn't work. Also, go back to Miguelda, her reg doesn't work either. And also, I guess the big thing is that is Elizabeth. We already have Elizabeth in the game. Now, obviously, the character's really bad. No one's really going to summon. But if it, let's say, was Salad, right? The character that looks like Meliodas from obviously, you know, the first movie. Right, it still would have been really, really bad, but at least it would have been a new face in Grand Cross, and it would have been cool to pull him. So yeah, that's kind of my point. They just don't really care about certain characters. We've gotten basically 3 this year, not including Mael. That was obviously his standard banner. All 3 of them have been seasonals. They're ditching the DCL, but they've also all been bad. Their choices have been bad too. Like, if I had to pick to reach this year, I would have done Neobasta because of the timing. I would have done a new Gloxinia, especially considering that every Valentine's banner for the last 2 years have been commandments. It just made so much sense to get a Gloxinia, and instead we got a new King that no one's used. I've only seen once probably. That's because no one, fairies aren't competent because there's literally only King. But yeah, boys, that's gonna wrap up to the video. Once again, it's kind of going to give a little rant here, kind of expand some of my thoughts that I had on the signature of the podcast. Once again, it's no reason why, you know, the fairy race has to be, you know, bad. And to be fair, I don't see anything changing. I do think that Fortnite could be, like I said, a massive expansion towards the game. Not only in terms of getting content, new game modes, new villains, new stuff in the game. It's going to be very, very cool, so I can't wait for it. And as I'm hoping they're doing right now, why they're taking their time and releasing really bad characters, no new characters, because they're saving all the effort for that when that happens. But, you know, Fortnite is going to bring, you know, dual races. That's going to be really new to the game. Going to be really interesting for team building. It's going to be, bring back fairies. We're going to get more Lancelots. We're going to get, obviously, more fairies. We see more people in the series as well. We're going to get more humans because there's a lot of humans from the series. And to be fair, giants ain't looking good, not gonna lie, but you know, fair enough. Literally the only real giant in this series is obviously Diane. There are obviously a few, don't get me wrong, but like generally speaking, it's only really Diane. I guess draw as well. To get more draws would be nice to see as well. Also, the thing is the relics, they've been a bit meh as well, if I'm being honest with you lot. Apparently the slot money's bad, but that could be what the character support he's got really. But like Freya being a PvP character, being made into an actual Nidhogg support was a bit weird as well. Then we're getting, you know, relics like obviously that new Elect that came out, which was just made for obviously you know, the knighthood boss. Then we got obviously Mono, which is just really, really bad as well. Like, it really does feel like they're just doing the bare minimum this year. And it's weird, right? Because technically speaking, the content we're getting is kind of fine. We kind of did that last year, but it feels weird now because what we're getting is just been a bit underwhelming, right? Like I said, the relics, they all look really good. All the crazy anime, especially Mono's one, looks insane, but it's just terrible. Like, just change your stats. Why make it way they don't have to be that actual passive or relic, whatever the buff they decide to give, right? Leducio, by the way, apparently was nerfed, if you don't know. Apparently he was leaked beforehand. Services leaks did come out, and they did say that it was meant to be all stats increase rather than attack related, because the attack rate made no sense. Where if it was all stat increase, then it would have gave a reason to use him over someone like Marga, for example, because you're getting all stats rather than basic, and even though it is less as well. Like, all the relics, all the characters, all the artworks, all the stuff we're getting have been actually pretty good. It's just what they do have been a bit underwhelming, and that's kind of why I think the meta's gone still. Once again, I do think they should have done better picks, like obviously doing, you know, a new King, a new Goddess Elizabeth, and also a new Leducio, which is stupid. Give us, you know, Gloxinia, give us Neobasta, give us Solad, for example. It would be so much better. And also give us more 17 characters. You know, there's so many in story modes. I can name so much right now, like Demon Gova, Indra, Monspeed, Derriere. We got Rue. We have, you know, Neobasta. We got Denzel, but in Neobasta, or being possessed by Neobasta. We have the commandments, like the past ones as well. We have all the other colors of the commandments. We have Gloxy of the armor. We have Skinny Escanaut, Oslo by himself, basically. Who else is there? There's probably someone just forgetting right now. I mean, generally, you can get second colors of festivals and also characters we're missing. And to be fair, I will say Netmarble is actually starting to do that. I will say I do like that he gave us a new Elizabeth and new, obviously, Small Wing King, because those are festival characters, so we can see more the ones. When it's Purple Jacket, for example, we can see, you know, new Nolly Merlin. We can see another Adult Wing King. I did think they're going to do another one this year, so that point I'm thinking he's probably going to be number 6 on Dan Banner. But the thing is, right, is that, you know, the stuff they're doing for them, like making her a PvE character, making you know, Small Wing King being made to use with fairies, but there's no fairies in the game. It just doesn't make sense, right? So once again, the content I think we're getting is fine. It's just what they're choosing to give us in terms of the content. It's been kind of bad, right? And yeah, boys, I think that's going to wrap up today's video. Once again, let me know what you think. I think we need to get more 17 characters. We've gotten more OCs and Ragnaroks in this month or this year. Then we've gotten 17 characters, and that's a problem because we're playing 17 Grand Cross. If a new player started right after, you know, Ultimate Escanaut and also Power Barn, because those are hype characters, and they see Freya, they see Mono, they see Roxy, they see Miguelda, and then see Mael, like what they're not gonna know what's going on. Like what are they even playing, right? At this point, 17 characters are the collaborations, because we're getting them like once every 2 months now, especially for festivals. So yeah, that's my main problem right now. It's just 17. It's just Netmarble doesn't like 17s apparently. So boys, thank you for watching, and yeah, peace.